Okay, let's dive in. The NBA right now, it feels incredibly unstable, doesn't it? More than just early season jitters.
Oh, absolutely. We're seeing some real organizational stress tests happening.
Hmm.
Three teams in particular, Dallas, Memphis, Sacramento, they're facing crises that honestly go way beyond just the win-loss column.
Right. It's not just about a bad stretch of games, and that's what we want to get into today. Kind of for the fan who sees the headlines but wants to understand the why.
Exactly. We've got the source material you sent over, and we're going to unpack it. Why did Dallas fire Nico Harrison? What's really going on with the culture in Memphis and Sacramento?
Hmm.
How did they go from, like, the feel-good story back to setting historically bad records?
It feels like fundamental issues.
Yeah.
So let's start in Dallas. The Harrison firing is done. It's official. But the sense I get from the material is this isn't like the end of the story. It's just step one.
Yeah, definitely not the villain defeated roll credits moment. It's framed more as the start of a healing process, a necessary one. It's basically the organization admitting, top down, that big mistakes were made.
And Patrick Dumont, the owner, his open letter seems pretty significant in that context.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial. He specifically thanked the fans for holding us accountable. That's big because, remember, Dumont ultimately signed off on the moves Harrison was making. So him saying that, it's an acknowledgement of his own role in it.
But accountability doesn't automatically equal fan trust, right? The sources suggest the sell the team chance might be coming next. So how does a new GM even start rebuilding that?
Well, the first step has to be setting clear boundaries, like immediately. The sources are really clear on this. The new regime needs to publicly state certain assets are untouchable.
Okay, like who are we talking about? Kyrie, presumably?
Kyrie, definitely. The fans seem to genuinely love him there. Then P.J. Washington, Derek Lively. But the big ones mentioned are Cooper Flagg, the prospect, and that 2026 first-round pick.
Ah, so protect the future.
Exactly. Declare those off limits. It signals a long-term plan, not another quick fix attempt. It shows you're serious about building something sustainable this time.
And finding the person to lead that. This is kind of new ground for Dumont as the primary owner, isn't it? He's shown he'll make big moves, like getting Rick Welts or, the Luka trade way back.
He's definitely willing to take big swings.
Yeah.
But the consensus from the material seems to be after Harrison, who had, let's be honest, zero experience in that top job.
Right.
They need experience now. Someone who walks in with instant credibility.
So names like Dennis Lindsey, David Griffin, Masai Ujiri is even mentioned as a sort of dream hire.
Yeah, Griffin's interesting. Championship experience plus connections to Rich Paul and Clutch, which, matters in today's NBA. But the common thread is proven C-suite level experience.
Okay, but there's one name the sources seem adamant should not be in that GM chair, despite his legendary status. Dirk Nowitzki.
This is maybe the toughest pill for Dallas fans to swallow, but it's critical.
Yeah.
You cannot risk damaging that relationship. The Jerry West example with the Lakers is the cautionary tale, right?
Yeah, it got messy.
It got messy and sometimes bitter. Dirk is, like, universally beloved.
Yeah.
A perfect sports icon for that city. You put him in a position where he has to make unpopular decisions, fire people, maybe even fail because the job's incredibly tough.
You risk turning the fan base against its own hero.
Exactly. You risk fracturing the very soul of the franchise. So, yeah, keep Dirk involved, keep him as an ambassador, but not in that decision-making hot seat.
So if you're the new GM coming in, day one, what's the absolute priority? Is it making a trade or is it something softer?
It's got to be cultural first. The sources strongly suggest priority number one is mending that relationship with Dirk, reestablishing trust, making sure he feels valued and heard.
That seems huge.
It is. Winning back Dirk, in a way, is the first step to winning back the soul of the fan base.
Yeah.
That trust is more valuable than any immediate roster move they could make.
Okay, so Dallas is about repairing culture. Let's pivot to Memphis, where the culture seems to be, well, maybe collapsing. They're 4-8, and the analysis is blunt. Just a bad basketball team right now.
And what's striking is why. It's not like they're getting killed on the boards or something physical like that. It's turnovers. Ball security is just abysmal.
That Knicks game, 133-120 loss, the turnover numbers are staggering.
They really are. Memphis had 22 turnovers. The Knicks had 15. Okay, 7 extra turnovers, maybe not game-breaking on its own.
But the points off those turnovers, 33 for the Knicks, only 11 for Memphis. That's a 22-point swing just from giveaways.
It's unbelievable. You basically spot the other team 22 points. And the crazy thing is, the data shows when they do hold on to the ball, their offense is actually okay. 51% shooting, 37% from three in that Knicks game. That's efficient enough.
But the stars are part of the problem here, aren't they? Ja Morant.
Yeah, Ja had 8 turnovers himself in that game,
Yeah.
which completely cancels out his 10 assists, right?
Yeah. And his shooting lately, look, over the last 6 games, the numbers are rough. 27.7% from the field, under 15% from three.
Wow. For a guy like him, that's not just a slump.
No, it's getting to really concerning territory. And the reports mention him looking uninterested in playing defense, too. That's a bad sign.
And Jaren Jackson Jr. isn't immune either. 5 turnovers, struggles passing out of double teams.
Right, which apparently makes him extremely easy to guard once teams decide to pressure him. It feels like the mistakes are contagious, spreading from the top down.
Which inevitably brings the coaching into question, Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah.
The team just isn't starting games well.
Not at all. And you look at who is playing well. Santi Aldama led the team with 19 against New York. Cedric Coward is mentioned as a strong defender. And they're both coming off the bench.
While the starters are getting blown out early, it makes you wonder about the rotation strategy, doesn't it? Why stick with what's clearly not working from the jump? It's a fair question, and it leads to the bigger issue, motivation. Ja is described as looking angry at everything. The whole culture is labeled broken.
And the material mentions this could be heading towards the next step of disaster. What is the nuclear option they're hinting at there? Is it trades? Coaching?
It's likely both, potentially. The first, and maybe most obvious, is a coaching change. Jenkins has to be on the hottest seat in the league right now.
Makes sense.
But second, more drastic meaning, is if this culture is truly broken, if Ja can't be reached or motivated, then you have to start considering the possibility, however unthinkable, of trading a superstar because the situation is becoming toxic.
Wow. Trading Ja Morant, that would be nuclear.
It's the kind of conversation that starts happening internally when a team with their aspirations starts 4-8 and looks this disjointed. It's about long-term organizational health versus short-term hope.
So for the immediate future, like their next game against Boston, what's the fix?
It has to be basics. Protect the ball at all costs, slow the pace down maybe. You also have to tweak that starting lineup, get Coward in there for Contavious Caldwell-Pope maybe, just inject some defensive intensity early.
Feel like damage control at this point.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Trying to stop the bleeding.
Speaking of bleeding, let's shift to Sacramento. Remember the Beam team? The playoff excitement. Feels like a lifetime ago. Now they're 3-8, tied for their worst start in, 35 years?
35 years. It's shocking how fast it's unraveled. And the common theme, defense, or lack thereof. They're consistently giving up over 120 points a night.
The defense seems to be the core crisis. The material describes it as undersized and soft internally, and the numbers against opposing centers. It's almost comical if it weren't so bad for Kings fans.
It's genuinely unbelievable. You mentioned it earlier, but it bears repeating. Over the last 3 games, the opposing starting centers, Jokic, Hartenstein, Gobert, combined for 87 points on 84% shooting.
84%. It's like target practice out there for big men.
They're just getting obliterated inside. And that defensive failure seems to be fueling this weird internal dynamic where the bench is actually playing way better than the starters.
Yeah, the numbers were stark against Denver. The bench scored 53 of their 108 points, and the starters were all heavily negative in plus-minus.
Right, like minus 22 for one starter.
Yeah.
It means the bench comes in, maybe stabilizes things, but the starters dig such a deep hole early, it's hard to climb out.
And Dennis Schroeder seems to be the poster child for the starters' struggles right now.
Yeah, the analysis was brutal, called him awful. 0 points on 0 for 3 shooting last game. Over the last 3 games combined, he's 1 for 19. 1 for 19.
Ouch, it's gotten so bad Coach Doug Christie is apparently thinking about starting Russell Westbrook.
Just for a spark, presumably? Anything to shake up that starting group. But look, Christie isn't going down quietly. He had that fiery press conference you mentioned.
Right, calling out the haters, fakers.
Yeah, and promising a new standard. Defend, rebound, and share the damn basketball. He's trying to connect with the fans' frustration, saying he gets their pain. You gotta respect the passion.
Definitely. But can passion fix a flawed roster? The sources criticize the construction itself, right? Saying they loaded up on guys like Levine, DeRozan, Monk, Westbrook, players that maybe didn't quite fit together.
That seems to be the underlying issue. It created this team that's maybe exciting offensively on paper, but defensively porous and lacking that cohesive identity. It puts them in that dreaded no man's land of the NBA.
Not good enough to contend, not bad enough for a top pick.
Exactly. And the reporting suggests that unless they pull off some massive identity-changing trade, a full hard reset might be the only path forward. They're built to score 125 but give up 130. That math just doesn't work.
So looking across all three, Dallas, Memphis, Sacramento, it really underscores how fragile success is and how quickly things can unravel if the organizational foundation isn't solid, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Whether it's hiring the right leadership in Dallas, managing superstar temperament and culture in Memphis, or building a defensively sound roster in Sacramento. These are all about the long-term health of the franchise.
It's not just about winning the next game anymore for these teams. It's about figuring out who they are, who leads them, and rebuilding that crucial trust with the fan base. Every decision feels magnified right now.
Yeah, the focus has shifted from the immediate box score to the next, say, 3 to 5 years. They're all grappling with the consequences of past foundational choices.
Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. We've got these three distinct crises brewing. If you were put in the owner's chair, which mess would you rather inherit?
Interesting question.
Would you rather have the Dallas situation, needing to rebuild the front office almost entirely, but with the critical task of winning back a beloved icon like Dirk Nowitzki? Or the Memphis situation, trying to figure out how to motivate and salvage the relationship with a young, incredibly talented, but seemingly frustrated superstar like Ja Morant before the whole thing potentially implodes?
One is maybe a more traditional management and PR challenge, rebuilding structure and trust. The other is, well, it's about handling immense talent tied up with complex cultural and personal dynamics. A really tough call.
Definitely something to think about. Which fire would you rather try to put out?
Gives you new appreciation for the pressure these front offices are under.
For sure. All right, that wraps up our deep dive for today. Thank you for listening. Please comment, like, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, please leave a 5-star review. It'll help the channel grow. Until next time, please check our previous episodes.